Hey, how's it going? It's been a while, and by a while I mean a couple of hours. Welcome to Time About the Movies Flashback. I don't know why I decided to start with that. There's a little bit different here. We are taking a look at 4 movies today on November 14th, 1986, and only one of them really had memorability to it that lasts generations, but other ones are worth noting for a couple of different reasons, as we're going to get to here in a little bit. But let's start off with the biggest of the new releases, the one that made the most money on this weekend on November 14th of 86. Joe Roth, the man who gave us Revolution Studios with the first movie he'd ever directed. He's got Klaus Maria Brandauer, fresh out of Africa, young man by the name of Adrian Pasdar and Wesley Snipes. Surely they'll go on to great things in the future. Some may even go to jail for some bad things. But John Mahoney's also in here too. Streets of Gold is the name of the film.
3 visions. I was boxing, Russia. I was champion.
I got something happening here, man. I got something going.
You know it just like I do. I'm the best fighter in here.
2 fighters. Battle. 1 dream.
This is my shot.
Worth fighting for.
You could be good. You a fighter? Yeah, you a fighter, are you?
Klaus Maria Brandauer. There's room for both of us, man. Streets of Gold. Rated R. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
So in this movie you have Brandauer, who's an immigrant from the Soviet Union, who was not allowed on the Soviet national team because he is Jewish. One day he meets 2 young amateur boxers, played by Wesley Snipes and Adrian Pasdar, and begins to coach them. So yeah, it's an underdog sports movie, and let's just say there was a much better sports movie that came out this same weekend, but, I mean, for Joe Roth, this is probably the best movie he's ever directed. Remember, this is the same guy that gave us Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise, Christmas with the Cranks, America's Sweethearts, Freedom Land. So yeah, needless to say, as a director, this is probably his magnum opus, but even then, it still isn't a great movie overall. It's not a bad movie per se, it's just a movie we've kind of seen done to death before. The underdogs coming in, and they're the ones who have to end up being the heroes of the day at the end of the film, and there's so many better movies. There's so many better movies that can be done with this story that have come out, and I guess the only notable thing about the movie is that this is one of Klaus Maria Brandauer's earliest films where, you know, he was coming off of these, like I said, he was coming off the success of Out of Africa. We got nominated for an Oscar, and, you know, Hollywood said, he's the next big superstar. Let's put him in the next couple of movies, and needless to say, not so much. Like I said, not a bad movie, but not a great movie either, so mixed opinion on Streets of Gold. So let's get to the more successful sports film that came out this weekend, the sports drama that was much more successful. That is, of course, Gene Hackman starring in Hoosiers.
For a man.
I've never met anybody who wanted to win as badly as I do.
For a woman.
I think it'd be a big mistake to let Coach Demko give him a chance.
For a father.
I know everything there is to know about the greatest game ever invented.
For a son.
I love you, Dad.
For a team.
That's reminiscent for all the small schools who never had a chance to get here.
Hoosiers. They needed a second chance to finish first.
Special sneak preview tomorrow starts Friday, January 16th at selected theaters. Check newspapers for time.
Now, here's how you take a familiar underdog sports story and actually make it into something much more cooler and much more refined for its own taste, and it actually gives you something new and different that you haven't seen before in another movie similar to this. You have a story about the small town Indiana high school basketball team and its journey to the state championship finals, inspired by the story of the Milan high school team who won the 1954 championship against Muncie Central High School. And you have Gene Hackman starring as Norman Dale. And you also have Barbara Hershey and Dennis Hopper, the latter of which actually got an Academy Award nomination for his performance in this movie. You also have Jerry Goldsmith doing the script for this. This is directed by the same guy who would later give us Ruby about 8 years later. And like I said, this is a movie that works even though it has a very formulaic format. I mean, it's an underdog sports movie. You can tell what's going to be what in this case here. And yeah, we've seen this done before numerous times over and over again, but what makes this unique is that the effort is put in there to make it stand out on its own. From the way it looks visually, from the way the story plays out, it does throw those twists and turns that you don't really see coming, and it makes for a very entertaining film overall. A great film featuring a lot of good performances by Hackman, Barbara Hershey, Dennis Hopper, and like I said, it has that real gritty 80s feel to it that you don't usually see with a lot of movies, especially nowadays. Like, this feels like a movie that's straight out of something from the... Well, it is straight out from the 80s in general, but done very well. Even though it is very much a story that's been done to death before, it's a movie that shows that it can take that concept and do something unique and different with it in the way it's presented, in the way the actors play it. You can see why it became the success that it did. It was a huge success when it came out. Oscar nominations, has had that cult following ever since it came out. It's a terrific film. It's an easily entertaining film. It works all the way through. I really enjoy it a lot. Hoosiers, can't recommend this one enough. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is one that I've never even heard of before, but let's just say it's very interesting, to say the least. Here's Willy Millie.
You think what I do is not important? If I were a boy, you would take me seriously. Boys have got it made. You're the band. Not a care in the world. You gotta loosen up about boys. Loose, and you gotta think. The deepest, darkest part desire.
Truly a miracle has happened to Millie. And now the fun begins. Last night she was a girl. This morning she's a movie. Unlike anything you've seen before.
Now, when I was young boy, this is a big thing that...
Hey kids, did you ever want to see a movie version of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde, that god-awful 95 Tim Daly, Sean Young movie, except nowhere near as nightmare-inducing? Well, here's that movie for you. That's actually Pam Adlon, a.k.a. The voice of Bobby Hill, the voice of Spinelli on Recess, was on Louie and Better Things. This was one of her early film roles, and what a way to make your first appearance in a movie. You have the story of Millie Niceman. I mean, even the name sounds ridiculous. Who's a young tomboy who is unhappy with the traditional expectations for her gender and longs to become a boy so she can act however she wants. And you know, by the powers of magic, she actually does become a boy. And yeah, this is a weird ass movie, man. I mean, good lord, like, I did not expect this to be as crazy as it ended up becoming, but yeah, when you watch this and when you see how bizarre and insane they make this simple concept in general, I mean, yeah, it's pretty messed up. Like, it's like, remember, this is the time when they made comedies like Private Lessons, where you have a little high school student falling for a much older woman, and they have sex, and it actually is shown on screen. Like, this is, like I said before, the 1980s will let you get away with whatever you want to do. Yeah, so you better go ahead and do it, because, yeah, you try doing this in the 1990s or after this, yeah, you're not going to get, this thing's not making it past the scripting process. But in the 1980s, someone said, okay, do it. I mean, we're the 1980s. We don't give a shit. Yeah, it's a weird movie, man. I can't even say it's a good movie or bad movie. It's just weird for the sake of being weird. Yeah, it's an odd film, to say the least. Like, it's a movie where, like, I get what it was trying to do. It was trying to do something different from the Freaky Friday format, or even something like Just One of the Guys that came out the year before. Like, I get what they were trying to do. But, man, the execution and the bizarreness of it is just so all over the place. I really don't know how to recommend this movie to people. Like, if you like seeing bizarre concepts, bizarre movies in general, this might be right up your alley. But if you're looking at this movie thinking it's going to be, oh, it's Freaky Friday all over again, you've been warned. You've been warned indeed. So, again, I really don't know how to sell this movie to people. Willy Millie, a.k.a. Something Special, a.k.a. I Was a Teenage Boy, a.k.a. Prepare to be fucked up when you see it. So let's try to end this on a much more positive note here with the last movie we have here. Tom Hanks is back with a new movie. A movie that I had never even heard of before I even did this. Every time we say goodbye, I die a little.
I'll write you every day. I'll dream of you
No,
every day.
don't.
You could no longer be my daughter.
Promise me you won't come back.
What are you talking about? I just...
I can't say it.
You're trying to drive me crazy!
Tom Hanks. Every time we say goodbye.
Yeah, nothing says romantic than having a Tom Hanks breaking into your house and literally doing everything he can to get to your daughter. I mean, yeah, there's probably a good reason why you've never heard of this movie, because it's pretty eerie in so many ways. Not quite willy-nilly eerie, but still, it feels really off. Hanks plays a Gentile American. Yeah, a Gentile American, because you know what Gentile Americans do? Break into people's houses like he does in that clip there. In the Royal Air Force stationed in mandatory Jerusalem, he falls in love with a girl from a Sephardic Jewish family, played by Christina Massala. And this was actually one of his first movies he did after the successes of Splash and A Bachelor Party and The Man with One Red Shoe. This was a guy that, and Volunteers, like, he had been mostly doing comedies, and so Hanks was basically trying to establish a dramatic career that he would eventually become much more successful in later on down the road. And like I said, needless to say, this is a movie where it feels like, yeah, that was probably the plan, but the plan is not a very good plan overall, to paraphrase the Avengers for you. But yeah, this movie looked pretty bad. I mean, I've only seen little bits and pieces of it, but that one scene where Tom Hanks is just barreling into somebody's house like that, yeah, that's what I think of when I think of a nice guy. It's just like I mean, what family wouldn't want their daughter to be dating somebody like that, honestly? But I don't know. I've never seen the movie in full. I've only seen little bits and pieces. It didn't look that great overall. It was probably a good reason why you probably have never even heard of this movie until now. Yeah, it looks pretty bad, so I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out in full one day, but I'm not going to waste my time doing it anytime soon. So that's every time we say goodbye.